mid lane towards the top side, and we're going to see Ucan HKA do the exact same thing.
Right, so we might see a level 1 engage here, but this looks like both teams will be contented with just a passive start here, because especially for Hong Kong attitude in that sense, because Amumu in the jungle, you definitely need to protect your buffs at the early levels. If not, you're just going to get crippled by such an early game strength jungler like Ace Fox in that sense, because having the dark flight, the hard initiate, and having the blood well as well just adds on to your diving potential right from the start.
Sure, the single Sentinels are set up very aggressively here. I like how they're going for the red buff here, because normally a move would start at blue, and with blue buff being on the bottom side, should be the start that most junglers take, but they're very aggressive down here. They might be able to catch somebody off guard. Pillar Peacemaker will deter the single Sentinels from advancing. Kali's going to go in here. We get some Death Sentence up, but nice to his blood as Ben W is still getting chased down. Death Sentence will not pick anyone off. We see HK pick up the advantage very early on. First blood goes down to Ziggs. And how many people are burnt flash? Ben W, Hylia still have their flash off. Both summoners for both Kailing and Chowie are down in that bottom lane. Meanwhile, on Ucan HK, everybody has used their flash except for
let's see the level 1 replay of what exactly happened here. So Kailing wanting to go in with that Death Sentence initiate instead, perhaps just flashing in and using that stun to lock up the entire squad, and follow up very quickly with Mr. Q with the counter strike as well, as we do see Singapore Sentinels taking a whole chunk of damage. Kailing, he was unable to stay in combat, and because of that he has to back out. Chowie with one slit of health back, and eventually Passer just walking in with the flash and with that bouncing bomb landing onto it, and that was the first blood going to hit.
So I really think that was a poor play coming up from Singapore Sentinels, just because they were chasing onto perhaps who's Annie with an AoE stun clustered up so much, and he just took poke damage as well. So misplay coming in from the Singapore Sentinels. They are going to do a lane swap though. Chronix beating it out with Pasa here on Ziggs. Ziggs just does so much damage in the mid lane. Lacks a little bit of utility, but makes up in terms of that massive burst and sustained damage.
Right, we have seen that in the past as well when we saw the Taipei snipers go up against HKA. I think just last week, we have seen Pasa just abuse that early game, burst damage right from the start, from level 1 to 3, and having for Pasa being a range champion, definitely you'll be able to just outpoke Bionic in that sense. They're going to be playing that kill in the mid lane.
And with double Doran start on Pasa, it's going to be so brutal for Chronix in his mid lane. He doesn't have his flash up. He needs to be very careful here. See Mythic Q here being bullied out a little bit. Death Sentence is not able to connect onto Mythic. He's going to farm safely under his tower in a second. Aatrox poised for a gank in this mid lane. Pasa though has a ton of minions for his safety as Chronix takes another bouncing bomb to the face. He needs to be very careful here. We're going to see Aatrox come in. Goes onto Pasa, gonna get stopped by the satchel charge. And Halia might actually go down here, lose his passive. Does not step on the explosive minefield though.
Right, very good aware play coming in from there. And Final getting in a bit of trouble, has to flash out of the way. And Kailing and Chowie making full aggressive up onto this top lane, and rightfully so as well, because that's the way you kind of want to control Jax in that manner.
So up in this top lane, we're gonna see Chowie and Kailing shove Mythic Q into this tower, lane swap against Jax. We're gonna have Java down the bottom lane, doing slightly better in terms of minion score, but not that decisive here. Hallelujah is actually poised for a gank here, but I really don't like this decision here, because he is so low. He can pop his passive anytime, and Aatrox without his passive, not a very good Aatrox.
Right, and that's the thing though, even though you do have that blood well in the early stages, you don't want to blow it at an opportunity where you can't secure anything as well. So they have to play this really carefully in that sense. But now Mythic Q and Fi gonna be reacting to this play coming in, as we do see Mythic Q now getting caught in by the flame, and the dark flight by Hallelujah. It's not gonna knock him up in that sense, but they do put Mythic Q to less than 1/3 of his HP there. So Choi, even though he wasn't able to capitalize on that, he's still at full health, so they would be taking out this top turret relatively quickly.
I like that Death Sentence coming out from Kailing. They were just absolutely predicting where Mythic Q would go, and they should be able to take out this top tower with ease. The bottom tower will go down to Ucan HK, which is a little bit of an advantage going to them, because they were able to do so with just 2 members of their team, compared to Aatrox coming up there, leeching some experience, denying some farm for Chowie as well. But nonetheless, going to be a tower trade, and we should see a lane swap coming in for Singapore Sentinels.
That's right. So with all that said, we do have some action back into the mid lane, as we do see Pasa relentlessly poking down onto Cryonics here. And that's the thing though, Cryonics is pretty dependent on his early game to scale further ahead than his opponent, right? At this point of time, he is down by about 10 CS, and that's all due to the fact that Pasa had that early game start out with that first blood. So, you know, in that sense, if he is able to scale much further ahead than Cryonics, then I would say HKA definitely has the upper hand when we go into the team fight phase.
So we're going to see Jarvan come around here. Ben W actually coming for the gank onto Pasa, knocks him mid-flight. He's actually going to get taken out solo. Chronics has to flash out of the ultimate though. He's going to get taken down as Chronics picks up the last hit onto Pasa, as I control the camera like a madman.
I think you just got caught up in the action there as well.
So we're going to see Chronics going to go back to base on this ward. HKA could potentially make a play here. Perhaps might come down. Will he stop it? Will he do it? He won't. Not. He wastes his flash a little bit too slow from perhaps there.
Wow.
Burns his flash. I thought he should have done that much earlier. Would be able to pick up a kill easily with that ignite if Chronics could not react in time. But we're going to see a swap coming in. Now we're going to see Hallelujah getting fully out by Namumu, and a nice bandage toss will stop his advance. The flash coming over from Engard will pop Hallelujah's passive. He should go down here. Cannot escape from this one. You can. HKA 5 will pick up the kill.
Right, so one more kill going to the favor of HKA there, but you know, that was a flash being wasted by perhaps you know, trying to stop the tracks of Singapore Sentinels there. But nevertheless, we do see HKA now once again going for their distinctive playstyle, which is, you know, they want to secure objectives very, very early on. Because the thing about them is, even though they are leading in kill score now, you know, traditionally they are a team that doesn't, you know, look for kills in that sense. As I say that, we do see some hunting action coming in from HKA there. We do see Amu slowly and steadily just walking up to them and perhaps not getting caught out by Kyling, and Fai has to use that, you know, Curse of the Set Mummy just to keep him in place, and Engard now putting on some damage onto Choi, but Fai picks up the kill for himself, and Kyling once again using the flame. It does look like Engard will pick up that kill, so 4-1 in terms of kills, and having a good 2.5k early goalie.
Good rotation coming in from HKA. They were able to run down to the bottom lane as 3 members pick up those kills onto the Singapore Sentinels, stop them from pushing down that bottom lane as well. And HKA really being aggressive in this early portion of the game. Only 8 minutes in, and HKA are all over the Singapore Sentinels jungle. We haven't seen Caitlyn in a single lane for much long as well. Caitlyn's been in the jungle longer than Engard has right now. I mean, Fai.
Right, and this is somewhat different from what we usually see from HK. Like I was trying to elaborate to you earlier, was that, you know, usually they like to go for objectives first, build up a few good items before moving in to go into team fight phase. But this time around, they are going for the aggressive start, probably recognizing the fact that they do have that early first blood lead, and, you know, having those objective leads as well, and, you know, catching Singapore Sentinels in awkward positions as they go for rotations as well. So very good calculations and very good decision making coming in from them.
So you can see Chao here pick up some farm for himself. He's been taken down twice by Ucan HKA right now. Hasn't had the chance to farm it up. There's been no real distinct laning phase from these two teams, and Ucan HKA abusing the rotations very, very nicely against the Singapore Sentinels, picking up some advantages here as well. Hallelujah on Aatrox hasn't had much impact on the game either.
Right, and we do see Fai now, Amu pick up, having some good, you know, kills for himself. He is 2-0-2 and finishing up that early Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so even more tanky, you know, usability in the early game stages.
And Momo with this pickup as well, that's going to make him such a beefy tank early on into this game. That's going to be so devastating for the Singapore Sentinels, just because Amumu doesn't really scale up till later on, and being this strong at only level 7 is really, really good for Ucan HK.
That's right, they do have to, Singapore Sentinels do have to revisit their strategy. Should they choose to go for a objective, or should they kind of focus down and, you know, try to predict HKA's movement in this entire process? We have to just wait and see. But meanwhile, down at the bottom lane, we do see Singapore Sentinels once again going for that rather passive, you know, game style right now. Just probably recognizing the fact that, you know, HKA has kind of read their movements for most part of it.
Singapore Sentinels need to definitely start going for some picks here, just because Ucan HK are moving on the map so radically. They're taking risky moves, running through the jungle, and just making risky plays in general. Singapore Sentinels need to capitalize on this group up and start taking them down for that.
Alright, so we do see some counter jungling coming in from the Sentinels there, but so it's a rather awkward moment for them as well. We do see two members just standing around the race cam, and it does leave some space for Mr. Q out in the top lane to further build on the advantage that he already has. A good 20 CS goal lead, sorry, not 20 CS goal lead, but minion lead over Ben W.
It's fantastic for Ucan HKA just because now Mythic Q can freeze the lane, get the experience and gold advantage. He's already 2 levels ahead of Ben W. That just shows how much time he's had to free farm in this top lane, while the rest of Ucan HKA rotate around the map very, very nicely.
Right, and the good thing about this team composition for Ucan HKA as well is that they can just leave Mr. Q to farm by himself and split push by himself as well, because if you look at the other 4 members, the Amumu pick, the Ziggs pick, the Annie pick, as well as that Caitlyn pick, can easily just hold the ground against this 5-man SGS setup. So as long as they don't get caught in awkward situations or in awkward positions, they'll be able to kind of just clear out the waves and just hold the ground with the turrets.
Team Sentinels need to start making some picks, I feel, here, just because I think he's going to keep freezing that lane. He can freeze it as long as he likes, and as long as he does that, Ucan HKA are only 4 members on the map. Team Sentinels need to capitalize on that and make some plays.
So we do see Choi slowly pounding away on the turret now, and now perhaps would he go in with the Flash Tibbers combo, but perhaps not.
Perhaps not. So, Aatrox is poised nearby to try and zip out Ucan HKA here. They have 4 members of Sentinels down this bottom lane, while Mythic Q still split pushing this top lane. It's quite dangerous to let Jax continue this split push. Fi here, Poison in a nice position though. Might be able to get a very good Curse of the Sandmari and Banish top off.
Right. I think the cat still got your tongue in this game.
Still has my tongue, but no huge fights have taken place between the 2 teams so far. Mythic Q, this is so dangerous for Singapore, just letting Mythic Q free farm and freeze this lane.
That's right, very, very dangerous position for them instead. So, I mean, at this point in time, Mythic Q is just keeping quiet and, just having his own time up in the top lane, but, once it hits this threshold where he gets a couple of items in, then he'll definitely join the fight to be this really tanky fighter for his team. And we do see a pincer formation coming in from Singapore Sentinels here, but they do get spotted out by the ward being placed down by perhaps. And now there we go with the Tibbers, and it does look like it's not going to be the kill for Ucan HKA there, but yeah, Pasa just casually around the corner, and he will pick up the kill onto Hallelujah there.
It's not good for Singapore. They walked all over that ward, allowed the Anti-Tibbers to come in for a stun. We're going to see Pasa here go onto Cryonics. Pasa that divine intervention as he jumps straight back onto Pasa, tries to pick up a kill for himself. He uses the Sassel charge and the flash to get away. Won't be able to die down here as we see perhaps going on to Kyling and Chowie. They should be able to trade supports for support here. Engar will be in a bit of trouble afterwards though, as Chowie goes for the counterplay onto him. The piercing arrow will not be enough to take him down as he flashes out of that range.
Wow, that was a very pinpoint flash as well, He saw that piercing arrow just come through, and because of that, he kind of just predicted onto that. There we go.
Done.
The most miraculous sound of League of Legends. As we go into a replay of this one, see Kyling took a chunk of damage from the burst coming in from Tibbers, and he flashed into the burst, buy some time for himself, but Engar eventually landing that last auto attack onto him, and Choi now almost taking out Engar in the process. Look at this pinpoint flash, just dodging that last ticking amount of damage.
Ooh. Right as we went through that replay, Chowie went for a bit of an aggressive play to try to stop Engar from going back to base. Flashed for it as well. Singapore Sentinels right now really relying on the 2 carries to start farming up, but Ucan HKA keeping it very close. I mean, Mythic Q is double the creep score of Ben W, and he's on a champion that scales much stronger than Jarvan.
That's right, so in that sense now it's going to be a ticking time bomb situation, like I always call it, for hyper carries such as Jax. If you leave him alone for way too long, then he will be the one to kind of jump in onto your team and make the plays happen.
So now Dragon is back up. Hallelujah does not have his passive though to jump in here and go for the revive steal, but he's still gonna do it anyway. Yes, he does. He's gonna jump back up.
With the quick dark passage as well, so not too much risk factor there for Hallelujah in that sense. But at this point of time, they were unable to stop the Dragon being taken down from HKA now. So HKA building up their goal lead just to a good 5k, just 15 minutes into this one. So Singapore Sentinels, they definitely need to group up and make something happen, like what we are seeing now.
So they are going to go for this push on the mid lane tower. This Mythic Q though said it this entire game, but he's still left to free farm at the top lane. That's exactly what Ucan HKA wanted. even this push from Singapore Sentinels is being deterred by just 2 members of Ucan HKA.
Right, it's primarily because between Amumu and Ziggs you have already a lot of AoE clearance, so you're not too afraid of sieging efforts coming in from Singapore Sentinels as well, just because you can clear out those minimum waves very, very effectively.
So right now, Chowie he's been known to be the split pusher of the Singapore Sentinels, the AD carry that will split push for a majority of the game, grab a lot of minion score, then come back in with these heavy items, impacting team fights with high mechanical skill. But right now, Caitlin's doing a good job of keeping even and helping the team at the same time. Chowie's still trying to farm it up, still trying to pick up the items he needs to help out the Singapore Sentinels.
That's right, and we do see the top laner for HKA now, Mr. Q, finishing up the Trinity Force already, so he's starting to grow to be this threat that Singapore Sentinels will be fearful of. So, and then we do see Pasa as well finishing up the early death cap for himself, so a lot more damage going to come out from the burst. And there we go with the counter strike onto Ben W there, and Hallelujah will be, here to back his teammate out, but will Mr. Q pick up that final touch to it? And yes, he does. And that double kill in the process as well. So Mr. Q now, like we said earlier, just scaling up to be this really scary champion. A double kill, and
here is the replay of that fight. As you see, Ben W gets jumped on by Mythic Q, and just the Trinity Force with the passive procs are just so much. Even Aatrox coming in, the 2-on-1 situation is not enough, and we're actually going to go back into even more action after this replay. You can see how they get taken down here. Team fight takes place between the Singapore Sentinels and Ucan HKA, which was rushed back into as we saw double kill going on to Cryonics after kind of a messed up dive coming in from Ucan HKA. So a little bit of saving grace going into the Singapore Sentinels. They are about 6,000 gold, no, 5,000 gold behind Ucan HKA at this point of time. Kai here gonna get jumped up by Kai Ling and Cryonics. The box gets placed down. He flashes over that one though. First his flash is good enough for them as God picks up a turret down at the bottom lane.
But a very systematic push coming in from HKA that they knew that 2 members of the Singapore Sentinels were just grouped up in the mid lane to, try to take Fire down, but, Fire, like we mentioned earlier, finishing up that early, sprint item already is so tanky, and it's quite difficult for Cryonics and Kyling to pick him down, and, Angod being further ahead than Choi in that sense, it was quite difficult for Choi to stop him from sieging away at the turret. So, once again, taking out another quick objective for themselves, maintaining their goal lead at about 5.6k mark here.
So we can see here the Singapore Sentinels quite far behind Ucan HK right now. Hallelujah just got his dark passage. Bloodwell just came back up for him, but now we're gonna see that fight down at mid lane. We see there goes the curse of the Samurai Cryonics though. Very, very nice divine intervention and flash to pretty much negate so much damage from Ucan HKA as we see perhaps go down. There goes, I can't even remember the ultimate of that Varus out there, but double kill. Chains of corruption, there we go. Double kill going up to Cryonics in that mid lane. He's doing the best out of the Singapore Sentinels right now. 3-0-0 has a better score than the opposition perhaps.
Wow, I like what perhaps is doing here. This is a kind of like a page of Kai Ling's book as well, his playbook.
Chowie needs to run here. He throws out the Chains of Corruption. It will miss. The Madness House will miss, and the Chains of Corruption will stop them from aggressive. Very, very nice play from Chowie against a 3-man gang. Wow.
Right, so props to him, just anticipating the movement, and Ben W finally taking out Mr. Q up in the top layer. I think it was a combined effort from Cryonics and, Ben W in that sense, and this time around, perhaps, I like the playstyle of what he's doing at this point of time, because it's quite iconic of what the Singapore Sentinels do, Usually it's going to be Kai Ling, the one that picks up the early oracles and then, just ward up the entire jungle of the opposition team and, find pickoffs with that Clippers. And this time around it's going to be perhaps doing that.
We go into a replay. We see Mythic Q jumping onto SGS. Cryonics locks him down. Cryonics though going to kite him back for such a long amount of time. Knockup comes in from Ben W. He's going to jump back onto Cryonics, who pops that divine intervention at the right time. The bomb coming in, the super Mega Inferno bomb.
Mega Inferno bomb, man.
To pick him up because of that divine intervention popped by Cryonics. He will live with a sliver of health, and they will pick up Mythic Q.
Right. This is why we see Cryonics is ever so comfortable on that kill pick, that divine intervention just at the right time to keep him alive in that sense. And it's at a point of time where he, even though the bomb just landed on him, at the ending stages of the divine intervention as well. So props to him for understanding the duration of that.
So we're gonna have to see what the Singapore Sentinels decide to do next year. Mythic Q is still split pushing. He's at 164 minion score, 2 kills and 1 assist. He's picked up that Bilgewater Cutlass so close to the Blade of the Ruined King. And once he picks that up, that's all the damage Jax will be doing for the rest of the game, which is very scary.
Right, once again, a very aggressive play coming in from HKA. I think they were thinking about it.
Going for Dragon.
Yeah.
They're gonna take this one very slowly. See, Fi's just gonna cry all over the place, doing that percent-based damage. The monster of Dragon here, perhaps standing on Dark Passage, wanted to take it but would not be allowed. So, another Dragon going to Ucan HKA. They further their advantage against the Singapore Sentinels. It's about 7,000 gold in their advantage right now. Only 21 minutes into the game. And we have a Jax split pushing against the Singapore Sentinels. It does not look very good for them right now.
That's right, and it's vital that HKA keeps up this pressure as well. And even though they are at distinctive goal lead at this point of time, if between Choi and Kylie, if they can land their area of attack lockdown together and just keep Ucan HKA in place, then I would say they still have a very good fighting chance back into this one, because in the sense they do have a lot of area of attack locked down with the Capitalism as well, and with the Darklight as well. If they are able to slowly and steadily chain their crowd control capabilities together, then they can turn fights around. But the question is HKA even going to give them that fight? Because we have seen Mythic Q just comfortable with farming by himself. Yeah, up in the top lane.
PvE, he needs about, I think he's going to start fighting at 400 minute kills. He's going to start playing this RPG game called League of Farm. Once he's done with that, we will be going back to League of Legends. But for now, we're going to have to see what Ucan HKA decided to see. Mythic Q once again just running top lanes like, yep, this is my home. He has a Blade of the Ruined King. So this is Jax at all the damage items that he needs for the rest of the game. We won't be surprised to see him pick up the rest of his items being completely defensive to try and stay alive in team fights.
Right, what I like about this pickup though, this item build coming in from Mythic Q, is that he has so much good items, but he doesn't have boots.
Yes.
He doesn't need shoes.
Don't need
shoes. Too cool for shoes, man.
Too cool for shoes. So we're gonna see Singapore Sentinels try and siege up this mid lane tower while Mythic Q still split pushes this top lane. 5 members of SGS are in the mid lane compared to the 4 of Ucan HKA, but the top lane is pushing very fast. It is possible for Mythic Q to push it down, take a tower, and even come back for a team fight here. As he chains the corruptions, go out. Good death sentence onto Pasa. He's gonna take it down as Kylie will live with some help. They're tagging a few hits of the tower. We're gonna see a nice dive onto Endgod here as the rest of Singapore Sentinels chase down. Fi though still has that curse to the side. Mummy might decide to use it. Decides to go onto Howley, who will get taken out under the tower by Endgod. And that is a 2-for-1 trade for the Singapore Sentinels, but Mythic Q takes down the tower of his own. Up at the top lane is still split pushing.
That's right, so Singapore Sentinels have to answer to that right now, as we do see a replay coming in. So Kyling with that max range death sentence, and just so much pinpoint target coming in from there. So Charlie picks up a kill onto Pasa there, and a good dark flight coming in from Kylie, knocks out both Angor and perhaps in their exchange, but they kind of just overstayed their welcome. They took a bit for too long, and even though Cryonic managed to have the finishing touches on to perhaps the Hallelujah, burn his blood well in the process, and eventually he will go down to Angor in that exchange.
And while we were in that replay, we saw Chloe absolutely destroy Mythic Q in a one-on-one situation.
Oh really?
Yes, and it went so close that Chowie actually had to lifesteal off minions right after the fight to keep himself alive there. So good plays for him.
Right, so I mean in that sense, if he's able to take out Mythic Q in the process, then he will be the answer to the split pushing Jax that is causing so much annoyance on the side of Singapore Sentinels there. But he has to make sure that he can actually see what happened in the process. Mythic Q finishing the top lane inhibitor turret, but he is actually at half health, so because of that, Choi was able to take advantage, and there we go once again with a few more auto attacks. And
look at the turnaround coming in from Mythic Q. He's going to take Chowie down to almost 0 health as he destroys him here. He actually has to go and lifesteal off minions after that to negate the last tick of Ignite, but still so close from these two champions, and that just shows how strong Jax is right now.
That's right, and this worrisome issue for them right now is that Mythic Q has rejoined his team, so he will be that damage coming in from there and flashing out from that chains of corruption. So we are going to see that flash down from Mythic Q, but not too much of an issue for him because he still has that Blink Strike to maneuver around the map.
Sure, as Pase are going to pick up his blue buff as their gold lead increases against the Singapore Sentinels, about 8,000 gold in favor of Ucan HKA, despite the score being quite close in terms of kills, but still 4 towers to Ucan HKA, and they've taken every single dragon of the game so far. So you, as you said, very focused on these objective-like plays.
That's right, because that's the thing about them as well, you know, is that they are pretty reliant on those objectives to keep themselves ahead in that sense. And the thing I want to take into consideration as well is what is that gonna, you know, come into play in the 3.14 patch when we do see objectives now. Globally, it doesn't give your teammates too much advantages, and you know, having those early turrets might not be, you know, as beneficial as it is now. So I mean, it will work out at this point of time, but I mean, when it comes to 3.14, then definitely that's a new consideration for them.
So this is the first time we've seen both teams grouped up as 5, which will really show who is strong in this 5-on-5 team fight. No longer sombrero Jacks here. No sombrero, no Mexicano will come into this game, but still, both teams grouped up as 5. I don't know what I just pressed on the caster's keyboard, but hopefully I did not do anything to the spectator. I'm very scared to put my hands back on the keyboard right now. I pressed, I think it was 4 buttons and I'm scared.
So are you going to develop a fear of keyboard after that?
I am, but Vi's going to go in with a curse of Sad Mummy onto Chowie and Kylie. Divine intervention goes straight into Chowie's going to live with a sliver health. Nick the Q batters down onto him. While the Singapore Sentinels front line is going in onto the back line of UKHA, but we're going to see Ben W. He will get taken down here. It's 5. We're going to take it down into an even trade, but Pasa might be able to come in for a snipe here. The bouncing bomb will go onto Kylie. He's going to jump closer. Here comes double kill. We'll go on to Edgard, who gets that with the help of Pasa's jump into Garant Vision. We're going to go in a replay of that. Take us through this one, Pimp Man.
Right, so Fi going right into the frame, and you do see Choi just getting bursted down also instantaneously, but you know, kept alive with that divine intervention. That will keep you alive just that bit longer. But Mr. Q already with the Blade of the Ring King and Trinity Force taking a lot of damage on, you know, the sidelines of SGS here, and Fi keeping Ben W in place, and because of that, the auto attack coming in from Angle will be able to finish him off, and Pasa chasing onto Kai Link here. Not going to be able to do it.
Jump for Vision though, right with the satchel charge, gives Vision for the ace in the hole, which will pick up that kill.
4 for 3 exchange coming in from Hong Kong Attitude. It was not the cleanest of dives, I would say.
No.
Yeah, so, but because, you know, of the scaling that they have so far, they are able to still come out on top of that one, even though they did lose 3 members in the process.
SGS are happy to take almost even trade though, because that means that they will slowly but surely catch up in terms of gold if they keep trading evenly with Hong Kong Attitude. But Mythic Q just showed how devastating it was that he lived through an entire divine intervention and took down Chowie afterwards, and then almost took down Cryonix as well, and he just picked up his first defensive item, being that Negatron Cloak. So now Cryonix damage might not be enough to keep him at bay against the Singapore Sentinels.
Right, he might just finish that up into a Guardian's Angel, and I mean a Guardian Angel's on such a fat Zed. Fat Jack, what am I saying?
He doesn't look like a Jello Man. Going for the Baron attempt here, so kind of scary to take it, but Mythic Q, with these items, he could just batter down on this Baron with ease. Singapore Sentinels are not even going to go and try to react to it, so Free Dragon will be going to Ucan HKA with Caitlyn. It's very nice to just battering up Baron from the back side. Now SGS are going to find it. 5 might go for the initiation. Kylie almost gets initiated on us. Here we see Tibbers goes in onto 3 people. Chowie gets bursted down. Kiss the Salmon will go to 5, but Singapore Sentinels look like they're going to take fight for a second as Ben W goes down. Now Mythic Q in a bit of trouble as Holly is running away from the fight. Cryonix though has to flash away as Pasa will pick him up. Chowie now trying to run away from the double carries that are chasing him. So it goes for a little bit of a miss micro around that wall. Will get away safely though as we see Mythic Q chase down. Hallelujah gets him with the counter strike through the wall.
I didn't know that was possible, man.
Spell points.
I honestly didn't know that was possible, but you know, it's Mr. Q with the amazing flashy plays with that Jax pick.
So that's a 4 for 2 trade in favor of Ucan HKA. We're going to see the Spider against the Curse of Sad Money, locks down Cryonix and Chowie. The 2 auto attack deals has a nice death that locks down for Haas. 5 will go down, but you can see just Pasa and Engard completely untouched by the Singapore Sentinels, and they're just going to burst through the front line of SGS and then go straight for the back line as Cryonix has to flash out. Pasa will instantly flash after him and throw one more bouncing bomb, pick up the kill onto Cryonix as they chase onto Chowie, not able to get it, and there's a little miss micro on Chowie to get around the wall, has to flash out, and Mythic Q gonna chase onto, use that ward and the counter strike through the wall, picks him up. Bam. Stop.
Right, and the thing I like about HKA in that fight was that they just effectively used that minefield to negate away the possible initiation coming in. As we do see Angle slowly poking away at Kyling, he has to flash out, and the divine intervention gets stopped on him as well. And there we go with the Chains of Corruption and the Dark Flight finishing off the one possible death threat coming in from HKA.
Good turnaround from Singapore Sentinels, but still they're about 10,000, 11,000 gold now behind Ucan HKA, and it's a very, very scary gold lead. The Guardian's Angel has been picked up by Mythic Q, which is going to make him an even more scary monster in this game. And their inhibitor is down to the top lane as well. They were able to pick that one up while we were in that replay.
That's right, so HKA now in way far ahead in the driver's seat, so I mean, at this point of time, it's going to be up to them to throw this game away, I would say. But at this point of time, Singapore Sentinels still making very good efforts, making the right picks, choosing some of the right fights as well. But, the man to look out for in that perspective is Pasa. Look at the amount of damage that he did earlier with that one Mega Inferno Bomb to start things off. And that's a really scary thought when you are facing up against this team composition.
Sure, and so Ben W here is going pure tanky right now. He has so much armor in terms of that Randuin Sunfire Cape and the Ninja Tabi, also known as Dodge Boots. No longer in this game anymore, but Chowie here, he's picked up his Bloodthirster, his Last Whisper, and his trademark Static Shiv here, while Caitlyn just has a little bit more components for the Infinity Edge, as Chowie has gone for that Quicksilver Sash. Instead, we're going to see, oh no, just misses the pick, going onto perhaps there. Might see the slow comes out. Will we see Chains of Corruptions? No, but they were getting some good poke damage onto perhaps. So that shows SGS still have the potential to pick off players of Ucan HK when they are split up. I think Ucan HK really needs to group up as 5 because they're so far ahead. They need to group up, capitalize on the fact that they are ahead, and force fights against Singapore Sentinels.
Right, so we do see Mythic Q now finishing up that Guardian's Angel, but he is caught in some trouble now. The counter strike goes off onto him. Will he be able to, escape this? It does look like the world is going to go down in the process here. The Guardian Angel gets burnt as well. As we do see HKA capitalizing on this vision that the entire squad of Singapore Sentinels are up in the top lane. They will take out this bottom turret in the process.
It took Singapore Sentinels so long to take down the Ucan HKA Jax. They're actually going to grab an inhibit out as well. They might not be able to, but Kyling's going solo. Gets the nice death sentence on the Pasa as the curse of the Sand Mummy comes up. Pasa will get taken out. So solo fight now. Target for the Singapore Sentinels. He'll get taken out as Engard also gets taken out and perhaps will get melted by Singapore Sentinels. And they might be able to save this inhibitor as well as Chronix. I feel like he's really putting his team on the back line now. 10-1 and 7 on his Kale. Doing fantastic for the team. I'm going to go to replay that. Take us through this one, Penguin.
Right, so we did see HKA now. They stayed for a bit too long there, and we do see Kylie almost going down in the process. And that play just keeping the entire squad of HKA in place. And the reason why Chronix has been able to do so well is that he just kept himself alive with that divine intervention, and with the items that he has pumped up for himself, just slowly taking them down one by one. And that last come alive from the last stick of Ignite. So Singapore Sentinels with a very good play. Hopefully they will be able to capitalize on this and come back into this one.
So they've caught up in terms of the gold score slightly. I mean, they're still 8,000 gold behind Ucan HKA. Mythic Q though, his Guardian Angel is down, which gives them some leeway, but he's built up that Warden's Mail now, so getting even tankier now against Singapore Sentinels. He's gonna farm it up even more. They were able to catch them off very nicely because Mythic Q was out of that fight, and they transitioned very nicely to the bot lane. They were able to pick off Ucan HK, but if Ucan HK can actually the smite steal. I just says no. Yeah. My dragon, my way.
Yeah, you don't want to make the mommy enemy sadder than he is now. So
I feel like Chronix is having a really good game now because he was put in a disadvantage one-on-one lane with Pasa having that extra draw on Rain. Was forced to go back to base, but he's still making very nice plays. I like his positioning, and the use of his divine intervention is very nice right now.
Very precise, in the sense he has.
Yeah,
he has kept his teammates alive in multiple occasions.
There we go, Sunfire Cape picking that one up. The inhibitor has respawned for Singapore Sentinels. They actually have minions battering down onto it. We're going to see the clear coming from Chowie. The static shift will give some extra airway clear, but this turret here, I feel like the Singapore Sentinels have to fight under the tower right now. If not, Ucan HK are just going to push into the base, but actually they're not even going to worry about this mid. They're going to go for this bot lane inhibitor instead. SGS have to force a fight here, I feel. If not, that inhibitor will go down.
Wow, just look at the amount of damage coming in from the ace in the hole, just repelling Kyling in the exchange there. But I think it's come to a point where HK is quite cautious about how they do this. You know, they are slowly and steadily positioning themselves to be in a advantageous position, as we do see perhaps just melting down almost immediately to the combination of the chains of corruption.
We're going to see Mythic Q go straight onto Chronix here. Here goes the ultimate coming from Ziggs. Will take down Chowie. So solo fine now. Sounds like Kristen San Mami and Edgar will flash in for the execute onto Chowie as Kylie gets taken out. The shutdown will go onto Fies. Ben W. There's nowhere to run for him, and Aatrox running all the way back to base. It's a 4-for-1 exchange after a nice pickup onto perhaps they overextended slightly, and now Ucan HKA being this far ahead. I feel like they will end the game here. They surely will do. Taking down the Singapore Sentinels in a 35-minute match.
Right, so it does look like Singapore Sentinels not able to get their hands on revenge here tonight on the Garena Premier League, as HKA pulls off the victory here tonight. You know, that's definitely going to be a great win for them because it's going to push them further ahead in the leaderboard.
I feel like the Jax pick was really a huge factor against the Singapore Sentinels, just because, I mean, SGS went for the KO pickup, and also two other champions being both Aatrox and Varus here, who rely on their auto attacks to get damage off. They banned out Renekton and Shyvana. Well, Renekton and Shyvana will ban out one from each team. That really leaves Jax, one of the most viable top laners, open. And without Renekton, it's very hard to shut him down in a 1-on-1 situation.